You're listening to the Broadway Podcast Network.
I also didn't know how to dress for dance calls. And so I just wore like these black tights with tighty whities under them and like a long H&M t-shirt. It's a miracle I got into anywhere because it was horrendous.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Was It Chance, the podcast about embracing opportunity and taking intentional risk for your creative life. I'm Heather Vickery.
And I'm Alan Seals, and I use Chrome. Heather and I started out as two perfect strangers who met by chance and embraced opportunity until I found out she uses Brave.
That's not
Listen
true.
in as we chat with
He
other
loves me
successful
anyway.
people, yes I do, about the risks they've taken to put themselves on a path to creative success and browser security.
That's why I'm on Brave. I like the browser security better.
Brave is built on Chromium, which is the engine that powers Chrome. I'll give you that, but it's just easier to get it from the source. You know what
We
I
are
mean?
not here to talk about internet browsers. We
Well,
are
we can
here.
be.
No, we are not. It's not what we're here for.
Well, we'll get into cyberbullying. I'm sure it
Yeah,
overlaps
you're a
with
bully.
it.
Okay.
No.
No, we
Dear
are
Evan
here.
Hansen. Anyway.
Shh. Stop.
Perfect segue.
See what I mean? See what I mean?
Oh. Did you do that on purpose? And I just it just went right over my head?
Yes,
Or
yes, I did that on purpose.
He did not do it on purpose, Anthony. He did not. It just worked out.
No, cyberbullying, the Dear Evan Hansen tell you. That's
I
exactly.
know.
Come on.
Okay. So we are here today with Anthony Norman, who is an actor raised in my neck of the woods. I don't know if you even know that or not, Anthony. Chicagoland, Oak Park. I'm curious what your connection to Oak Park is because my kids grew up in the Actors Garden, and I know that you've spent some time there. So we got to give the Actors Garden a little love. He has performed in so many incredible shows, including The Prom, Newsies, Love Reconsidered, and City of Light. He's appeared in television shows as well as Living the Dream, Chicago Med. There's a lot of them. The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. I actually want to talk about that. And right now, he is Evan Hansen in Dear Evan Hansen and the tour, the national tour, and it's very good. You guys have to go see it. You're also like a crazy talented musician. You play piano, guitar, saxophone, clarinet, flute, ukulele, bass guitar, accordion. Holy hell.
And all at the same time. All at the same time. Welcome, Anthony. I
Thank
Mayor
you.
of Easttown. Isn't that the show that SNL made the sketch about? They were like, "You're gonna murder my daughter."
Yes, the Murder
Murder.
That came out after episode 3 premiered, and it was I remember texting a few of the people there was a few of us who had a group chat going, and we were just like, this is so cool. It's like, and apparently that's like one of like the highest honors in like a TV series is if you get spoofed on
Absolutely.
SNL, it's like a huge deal. And it was so cool. Even though I was a tiny, tiny part of Mayor of Easttown, it was so cool to that's a show I'm a part of. That's very cool.
My wife and I still, whenever we hear the word daughter, we always go, "Girder? Is that your dirter?"
That's awesome. So Anthony, where are you actually from since we can talk Chicago?
Let's talk Chicago. I'm from Chicago, like around the Belmont Cragen area. So I grew up around there, and my brother and his family actually live near Oak Park now. They live at like Austin and Lake.
Oh yeah.
I freaked out when I heard about the Actors Garden on Lily's episode. So I know Gigi Hudson from high school. I went to school with her son, Connor, who is coincidentally the antagonist, the protagonist. Who is Connor and Dear Evan Hansen? Like, that's a really good question. I never actually thought about that.
Objective adverbstein.
Whatever. Just ignore him.
Yeah.
It's easier.
No, I have to entertain at least, because like that's someone needs to entertain me at all times. So I
You
I
two are
understand.
perfect for each other.
We might be.
That is so
But yeah, so when I heard about the Actors Garden, I freaked out. I was like, this is such a small world. So I did like Gigi's first workshop with the Actors Garden as an actor.
Yeah.
I sang something from Seussical. Yeah, I don't know. It's just we've kept in touch all these years, and I got to teach a class there one time, and it's just I adore Gigi, and I I love the Actors Garden and what she's doing for the community in Oak Park. I think it's super cool.
It is so cool. And I love the connection. Like I said, so I have 4 daughters, and we've done Actors Garden summer camp for 10 years, I think. So a long, long time. And I took my 13-year-old, who is currently in classes at the Actors Garden. I took her with me to see you perform in Chicago.
Oh, great.
And it was just really fun. She felt like this cool connection. Like we had the same acting program, and you didn't study there, but so it was very cool. So I just wanted to give them a little bit of love because I love the serendipity of all of that.
Yes, me too. That's really cool. It's also another reason why I love Chicago. It feels like a very familial community, especially in theatrics there, and just I don't know, just in general, it just feels like a much more connectable city. Yeah. And so to know that your daughter and I have a connection like that, come on, that's awesome.
So cool.
Her
sorry,
the whole time and drive me crazy. Yeah. Story of my life.
Your head's got 4 dirters.
Not to brag.
Really not. They're like, I love you. If they're like, I love you, baby girl. You are wonderful. You are wonderful. I need some drinks. No. All right. We've been so excited to have you on the show. And then we have so many questions. And I'm gonna let Ellen go first.
Me too.
Great. What would you like to ask yourself? What do you want to start with?
You said you have questions.
I do. Many of them. But why don't we start with yours? Because I'm sure they're much more valuable and interesting.
Well, I ask myself all the time, why am I here? Why are you there? That's actually a legitimate question to take us, I guess, into the convo that I can participate in because I'm not from Chicagoland. But we can talk New York.
Let's talk New York. I did Newsies once.
There you go.
So I can talk New York all day.
Take us back to little Anthony, little Tony. When did you get into performing and like decide that this was your path? Did you just like hop on some bandwagon that was swinging through town and take that chance?
Or wait, and were you little Tony, or did Alan just decide that for you?
Alan decided that for me. I don't know where it came from, but there was some trauma around the nickname Tony for me at a very early age. And I can't tell you where it's from. Still talking to my therapist about it, but we will figure it out. I've never been called Tony ever.
We will not do that to you ever.
T-Town? T-Train?
Stop it.
Call me, our music director, Garrett Healy, calls me T-Bar. I call him G-Bone. So you can call me T-Bar.
You got it.
That's
all right.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, as T-Bar was saying, I grew up as a musician, actually. So I have 2 older siblings. I mentioned my brother who lives in Oak Park, and he is married. He has 3 kids. He's 6 years older than me. And my sister lives in Oregon with her husband, and she's 3 years older than me. So we're each 3 years apart. They grew up as musicians, especially my brother. Like, he spearheaded the whole thing. He grew up as a multi-instrumentalist, playing trumpet and drums, and he was in bands growing up. So when I was like in like middle school, I would always sit in the basement and watch him practice with his bands, and I would do it all the time. And in 4th grade, I started playing the saxophone. We had like this guy come into our classroom, and he was like, I have all these instruments, and like, pick which one you guys want to learn. And I don't know what that job is either. I think it's someone who might work for a music store, and like they're just like, yeah, you come in and bring some instruments.
Makes sense.
Anyway, side note.
Makes sense. Good marketing.
Yeah, exactly. It's great marketing. And so I picked up the sax, the alto, and I picked it up from there. And so throughout grade school, I was just practicing that. And my brother eventually went to college for jazz studies at Elmhurst College, which I'm sure you know, Heather. Yeah. I didn't know they have a really great jazz program there. It's like one of the top in the country. And so he played trumpet there, eventually met his now wife. And then my sister wound up going there for jazz studies as well. So as I was going through grade school and high school, I was like, great, I'm going to be going to college for jazz. Like that's what I'm going to be doing. But also through grade school, I was playing sports. I promise this has a tail end. I'm talking a lot.
It's all
I
good.
promise.
It's all about you today.
You know what? You're right. You're right. I'm not going to apologize anymore. So throughout grade school, I played a lot of sports too. Baseball, basketball. I played golf sometimes, which was really fun. I'm terrible now. I golfed recently and I was horrendous. But I had like this fantasy of going to college for basketball. I wanted to go to U of I to be on the Fighting Illini. I just like had a fantasy of that. But you know, I just kind of knew I was going to the same high school as where my siblings went, which was Garin College Prep. Doesn't exist anymore.
Do you have the option of doing different high schools?
It's private school. That's how you know Connor Hudson.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So we went to Garin together, but part of me wishes that I had went to a different high school and explored my options. But you know, as a kid, it's just you don't know anything, and
as an adult, you don't.
I think
know
it was
anything.
just kind of just like, yeah,
it doesn't get any better. This is
really get better.
You've peaked. You are peaking right now.
I peaked 18 years ago, and it still has not gotten any better. We're still working on it. And so I wound up at the same high school as my siblings, and my sister was doing theater when she was in high school, and even in grade school she was doing theater. She was like the only actress in the family, and then there was a second actress in the family. I'm pointing to me,
and he's pointing to himself.
And when I got to high school, my freshman year, I auditioned for the play. It was an Arthur Miller play called The American Clock. It's the most depressing show maybe ever. It's about the 1920s stock market crash. And it was great. It was very lighthearted and a very easy watch for high school students watching and high school students doing it. Highly recommend. And so I did that, and I just had a knack for it, I guess. And I sang in the show, and I grew up singing here and there, but I started getting attention for that from like students at my school and like girls, and they were like, "Your voice is so good." And I was like, it was like the first time that had ever happened in my life. I remember the song I sang in the show was "It's Only a Paper Moon." And so I have a very romantic, nostalgic connection to that song. And then I did my first musical in the spring, which was, I mean, this is problematic. It was Once on This Island. And so that was like the first musical I starred in.
My kids were in that too.
I mean, every high school has done it, and they'll probably still be doing it. But yeah, like
it's still problematic. So
it's definitely problematic. But I mean, come on, Aaron's and Flaherty. It's one of the most gorgeous scores in musical theater, and it's just such a great show. And that's when I really started getting attention for my performing ability and my voice. And my uncle, who's a voice coach, was like, "You have a natural talent, but your intonation could use some work. Like, I just noticed you have some like." And it's like totally normal. So he's like, "Would you want to work on this with me?" And I'm like, "Yeah, absolutely."
You pitchy.
So around
fix
that's
that.
cool. But no, but that's so cool. There's chance, right? Like that's where you were going with this whole story. I know.
Exactly. That's the whole point. The whole point of all of this.
You're sassy. I like you.
The thing that really turned everything around. So like, long story longer, I was still playing instruments throughout high school while I was doing theater, and I did every show, every semester, every year, while I was still playing saxophone and learning all these other instruments, like all the woodwinds and stuff, because they had just all these instruments lying around in the band room. So I would take them home, and I would look up like a fingering chart for clarinet, fingering chart for flute, scales for this, whatever. And so I just went from there, and that's how I started picking up multiple instruments. And it's when I learned piano and guitar, really, and bass is just guitar with 2 less strings. And then senior year of high school, while I was auditioning for jazz programs for saxophone, I did the all-state show at the Illinois High School Theater Festival, which I don't know if you've heard of, Heather. Is that still a thing?
It is. Yeah.
So it's like Broadway for high school students. It's like thousands of kids audition for this one show, and like 25 kids get in. It was the first year I auditioned for it,
It's
and
like Lord of the Flies.
it really is. It really is. And it was Into the Woods, and I booked it. I booked Jack. And like that was a show that turned everything around. That's what made me go, "Oh, I want to also audition for music theater programs as well." And so I was auditioning for both jazz programs and music theater programs, not having a clue how to audition for theater programs. I had the most ridiculous headshots. It was like one picture where I have like a scarf on and a vest over a t-shirt, and I'm like smiling off camera. And then in the bottom corner, there's like a picture of me with glasses going like, it's like my comedy reel. It's the most ridiculous headshots. And I also didn't know how to dress for dance calls. And so I just wore like these black tights with tighty whities under them and like a long H&M t-shirt. I like, it's a miracle I got into anywhere because it was horrendous. But it worked out, and I wound up at Millikan University, which, I mean, I owe that school so much. They taught me everything.
Wait, so you originally were going to go the jazz route? You thought, and then
Yeah.
it was just the chance audition for not the Jimmy Awards, but the other thing.
Yeah,
And wow, so
like the Illinois Jimmies.
the
Illinois
Jimmies.
Jimmies.
And backing up, I guess, yeah, you started it because basically you were like Limp Bizkit. You did it all for the nookie.
Exactly. That's exactly it. I haven't heard a Limp Bizkit reference in maybe 15 years.
Well, that's this year's that's this 15 years
were a-
quota, so you won't hear another one for another.
You were a baby back then too. Oh,
That's
my
cool.
goodness. Very cool. Was there a pull? Like, did you instantly just know, nope, it's going to be theater, it's not going to be music, or were you a little
There was
torn?
there was definitely a pull. I was conflicted because I was getting healthy scholarships for the saxophone programs I was auditioning for. Like there was one program, it's I'm going to flex on you here because I'm still shocked by it, that I got into a program that only accepts 4 students a year. And it was like, then they gave me this healthy scholarship, and I was like, I mean, but I really just, after doing that Into the Woods production and meeting all of those people, I still talk, some of those people are still some of my closest friends who I worked with. And it was like the first taste of like community theater that I ever had that was positive. Because before that, like a year before that, I did community theater for the first time. And it was really toxic and not fun. And like, there's actual trauma that I like have realized that I got from that.
Wow.
And so like, just like this, it was like the first taste of like, oh my God, like you can meet people like this and do a show that feels rewarding and satisfying like this.
And people don't talk enough about how much trauma there can be in student
Totally.
theater programs.
Totally.
That's why a program like Actors Garden, I think, is so valuable because it's healthy. But I want to hear. What
No,
you
I
guys
totally agree with you. I
It's
mean,
about
Gigi knows how to cultivate a very healthy and dynamic room of artists, and even the artists that she brings in to teach the kids. I mean, I've never seen a more positive room than any time I've been at the Actors Garden. It's just Gigi and Dave, like I respect
Yeah.
them both so much, and I really hope that I have the opportunity to work with either of them at some point in some capacity in the future.
Oh, yeah. I see a play writing for you
come
right
on.
now.
Let's make it happen.
Come on, Dave.
Yeah.
Come on, Dave Hudson. Yeah.
Okay, so
that's awesome.
you've got this internal struggle, and you wake up every morning, and you're like, do I be a brooding jazz musician or
Mhm.
do I be a struggling musical theater actor?
Mm-hmm.
Both equally.
Which struggle,
do
do I care about more?
Meanwhile, the Fighting Illini is calling me nonstop to be like, "Are you gonna play for us?" And I'm like, that fantasy is gone. I can't.
Yeah. No.
Well,
there's not enough struggle in
There isn't.
basketball, Alina.
There isn't.
wait, how tall are you?
I listen. I don't even fit the height requirement. I'm 5'7", barely, and
I was
like
gonna say, I didn't think you were like above 6 feet, but yeah. I mean, Muggsy Bogues did it.
Muggsy Bogues did it, and he's the only one. The average now is I think like 6'2", 6'3", and that's on the shorter end.
Yeah, that sounds tiny.
Yeah.
Wow.
That gives me hope though,
Wow.
because I can like rebirth as I'm 6'1", so I'm almost there.
Oh, so you could ball
Yeah,
out.
because now at 41, he's going to go for
I'm still
basketball.
growing at 42. I'm just I'm keep going. Anyway, so my question was, you've got these two struggles that are equally calling you. Are they equally calling you? I guess is my first question, or are you like leaning into one more or the other? But then, at what point are you like, you know what, I'm going to keep going down, and I'm going to embrace this. Like, did opportunities just keep kind of flowing in one path or the other, or was it just like kind of bouncing back and forth for a little bit?
Totally. It was actually my sister who asked me a really crucial question, and I'm realizing this right now. So she's pretty much the whole reason I'm doing this now as a living, because she got me into it in high school, and then she asked me this question. She said, if you want to, because she was in college at this point studying jazz, she said, is jazz your passion or is it a hobby? And I said, oh, it's a hobby. And so like that's when I realized what my passion was. And now like I'm 30 and I've been doing this professionally for like 11 years at this point. I'm counting like my first summer stock job with that because that definitely counts.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, it does.
It's some of the hardest work is summer stock.
Absolutely. If you get $1 for performing, that counts as professional theater.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And so like I've been doing it for like 10, 11 years. And I've said this multiple times. I talk about this with my mom a lot, that it's like, I don't have any other choice but to keep doing this. I mean, that makes it the coolest job in the world, because it's like, there's no doubt in my mind that this is what I want and need to be doing. And that's really cool.
You're in Chi-Town. Are you everything that you're doing, is it all around Chicago and in Illinois? And what is the flip that is like, all right, I'm going to take this seriously, take myself seriously, and make the move to one of the coasts?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we didn't have a New York showcase in my college. We just did a Chicago showcase, which was great. That's how I got my first agent, and they were wonderful. Because we didn't have a New York connection, I was using my mom's car my senior year of college, second semester, and I was driving to and from Chicago a lot to like take dance classes and meet people, as many like directors or choreographers as I could. So I developed a relationship with a choreographer named Tammy Mater in Chicago, and I took her class at Porchlight Music Theater, and then I eventually auditioned for her production of Bye Bye Birdie at Drury Lane, and I booked it. And like that was my first big theater job in Chicago, and I was like, this is starting. This is awesome. But
yeah, and they do beautiful shows. Drury Lane does really beautiful work.
I mean, those theaters, the budgets they have are great, and they really use them to their advantage, and they do really great shows, and they get really great talent too. But before Bye Bye Birdie happened, Tammy was also choreographing a concert version of Mac and Mabel at Porchlight, and it was a 2-week thing. It was 2 weeks of rehearsal and like 3 performances, and it was during my semester, last semester at college. So I was driving to and from Chicago like every other day from Decatur, Illinois, which is like 3 hours, to go to rehearsals for this show, and then like go back and do classes, go back to rehearsal. And I remember they were like, and the compensation is $50. And I was like, this is amazing. Get $50.
That won't even cover my gas.
It won't even cover one trip from Decatur to Illinois, but I was stoked. And I still like owe my parents probably hundreds of dollars from that experience, but they didn't hesitate to be like, oh yeah, you have to do that, which was super cool. And I don't give them enough credit for that. I don't think, but like that was I was so lucky to have such supportive parents who were like, yes, you can use the car to make all these drives and make all these trips to do this, like really in the grand scheme of things, this like very minor thing. But it wasn't a minor thing because it really set my trajectory for Chicago and beyond, which was super cool.
Well, and there's so much dedication and commitment required to do this job that you do anyway. And it just shows you're going to be willing to drive those 3 hours. Like, you are all the way in. They can completely count on you. Your professionalism is on the table. Everyone can see it.
Yeah. Well, thank you for saying that. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. See, did you say at the beginning, Heather, that you saw Anthony in Chicago?
I did see you in Chicago, and it was wonderful.
Thank you.
It hits different when you're a parent to watch a show. I have been a parent since Dear Evan Hansen was created. My oldest child is 18. But I watch my children watch the show and how they feel and how they align with your character and what the young people in the show are experiencing. And then I feel it from the parental perspective. And it's like, whoo, it's really heart-wrenching. But you were amazing and you were fun. And I have to ask about the snort. Was that your idea?
That was my idea. Yeah.
Wait, what? Yeah. What? Tell me, snort me.
So every time Anthony laughs as Evan Hansen, there's a snort. And my kid did not get it. And I was like, did you notice the snort? She was like, no. I'm like, I could tell it was like, I'm going to put my spin because I've seen the show before with a different Evan. And so I'm curious to know, how much creative control do you have in a role like this?
That's a great question.
Yeah, that's actually, I want to add to that too, because it is such a well-known role for being originated on Broadway. So stepping into those expectations as well. Yeah,
totally. Well, the audition process was rigorous. It was very involved, which of course, because it's not like it's called Dear Person Who Comes into the 8th Scene. It's Dear Evan Hansen. It's like they have to be sure that we're investing in this title. Exactly. That's a working title. That was the working title. Yeah. That was a public theater production of Dear Person on the Left. And so, when I got to the rehearsal process, and I was so lucky to get to work with Michael Greif, because as you guys know, if a show is running for a long time, it's so rare that you get to work with the original director and the original team. It's like you're just working with the associates or the associates of associates. And so to work with him was amazing. And he was there from day one. And he was very adamant on me finding my Evan. And so with the snort, that happened. I just added that one day, and he was like, that's really great. Can you explore that more? And that was what the whole process was like. Like, can you explore that more? And I've never worked with a better director than Michael. He really knows how to work with actors. And it sounds cliche or pretentious, like he knows he's like an actor's director. But he is. At least for me, it felt so collaborative and open the whole time. And again, for a show that's so well known, for a role that's so well known, you would not really think that you wouldn't really have much freedom. But I will say that the limits are more on the vocals, and I sing the show a lot different than other Evans.
Because you're a bass, yeah.
I'm
waving through a window. Yeah,
exactly. I do the metal scream version, but it's all in like 2 octaves lower. But it's like that would be incredible. I'm going to do that in my solo show. Future. Yeah, exactly. Lin-Manuel's going to produce it anyway.
It's called Dear Second Person from the 8th Scene on the Left. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Produced by Lin-Manuel Miranda. Music by Candor and Ebb. But yeah, I'm like, it was, I never thought I was right for this show, because mainly it's like, I never thought I would be able to, I always thought I was too old. I always thought I was not vocally right for it. And, turns out I was wrong, because the team knows what they're doing. And so the limits of creativity are more so in the vocals. There are very specific vocal marks that you have to hit, and tones and things. Like, they want certain vibrato in like very specific places in the show. But otherwise, it's like, do your thing, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It is.
They want the straight tone. The vibrato is what they care about more than. What is it? Like, do they? Go ahead.
No, I think it's really important for a director to allow you to put your spin on it because we already know it's a different actor playing this role. And if all you're doing is mimicking somebody else's role, there's no life in that.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Yeah, well, you should always be the best you could be. Otherwise, you're always going to like put undue pressure on yourself. But it's surprising to me in a pleasant way that something that is so iconic and I guess, well, I mean, yeah, I guess it's sort of like this in all productions after the original cast leaves, is that you want somebody who can come in and stay true to the message and stay true to the meaning. But yeah, for things like this, you have to make it your own. Otherwise, it doesn't work because this is such a real and genuine show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And sorry, go ahead, Heather.
No, you go ahead. Say what you want to say.
No, you go ahead. No, you go ahead.
I have no idea what I was going to say.
See, I'm sorry. You can always talk over me, Anthony. It's your interview. It's all about you.
Right.
But
No,
since
you
you
go
don't remember, I'll say what I was going to say, which was, what is it like playing a high school kid as a 30-year-old man?
It's hilarious. I mean, I'm very, very lucky to have the genetics that I have to keep me looking like a high schooler on stage right now. So first and foremost, it feels very lucky. And secondly, it feels great because I have all this insight from my high school experience, and I get to see high schoolers in our current day with social media, with TikTok and Instagram, and I get to see how like teenagers are nowadays, and like I get to observe their behaviors, and like I get to think about my experience and how like specifically body language and like speech patterns and like slang, like that kind of stuff, like just mannerisms of like high schoolers and just teenagers in general. They're so uncomfortable to watch and like be around most of the time. especially teenage boys. They are so weird. And it just it makes me think of when I was a teenager, like the things I would think or do. Just like, what a fucking weirdo. These kids are.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised I'm still alive. I did such
You're
stupid
still a
things.
fucking weirdo, though.
Well, no, yeah, that's true. That's true.
But they all are. And I look at, especially middle schoolers, early high schoolers, again, baby, I love you. I love you so much to all my daughters.
Thank you.
But one day they're going to look back and really be horrified because I watch and I just kind of shake my head. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, it's cringy.
One of my favorite subreddits is the Blunder Years. It's people just posting horrible photos of them in high school. It's funny. If you're a Redditor, check out the Blunder Years.
Absolutely. I'm going to write that down. The Blunder Years.
Yeah.
Amazing. So anyway, it feels cool to have all this insight and to not have like booked this kind of role when I was actually like a teenager. Because there's so much you don't know.
That is true. Yeah. And I think too, the production team, having somebody who is as well experienced and professional as you are too, with the talent that, you know, like they know it's somebody who can carry the show. Are you doing the 8 times a week performance? Or are you doing 6 with an alternate? How does the tour work?
6 with an alternate. Yeah. That's become standard. I think after Ben Platt left, I think that was, the standard that was set like right after he was done.
I think that's good. 8 is too much. 8 is just too much.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think that should just be what every show does for the leads, you know?
I think so too, especially with how they're writing shows now, with the demands vocally, especially. But even emotionally, it's like either write less or just implement a 6-show week for your principals.
Anthony, is this your first touring show?
This is my second touring show.
Your second. Okay.
Yeah.
How do you like touring versus being in one place?
It's hard. It's really hard. I mean, it's fun. It's fun to explore cities that you like don't get to go to. Like the Carolinas. I love the Carolinas. And so we got to go there and it was nice to be there again. but it's hard. I just I can't wait to have my place again and be with my dog. My dog is in Chicago right now. He's just roaming around. I don't know where he is. Could you imagine?
I was going to say, he hasn't been fed
He
in
can
about
come
6
here.
weeks.
We'll take care of him.
Yeah. So it's like, it's tough, but I mean, it's really freaking cool to perform in all these different venues, like, and to come into a different theater on every Tuesday, and be like, Evan's dressing room is this one, and it says Star Dressing Room. It's why I'll never get over that. I'll never get over that.
Do you take a picture of each one? You put a little.
I did, and then I stopped because I'm very bad at that kind of stuff. I'm very bad at memories.
Oh, one day you're gonna want to go back. That'll be
I know.
Fun.
Do you have a relationship with failure? What is your relationship with rejection?
Everybody has a relationship with failure. What is yours?
I have a great relationship with failure, and it's brought me some of the best things in my life. Frankly, there were shows I didn't book in New York that led to every single thing. So you said City of Light in my intro, which I'm like so stoked that you knew about that. That came from getting back for Book of Mormon, that it was like, and it was like, this is going to be the thing. This, because I had just moved to New York. And I was like, this is going to be the thing, and I'm going to be so lucky. And I bombed that callback, and I left. I called my agent. And I was like, I don't know what I'm doing here. I don't think I can do this. And then, or no, not my agent. I called my mentor at the time, and I was just like, I feel like a failure. And I'm sitting in Ripley Greer, which is the saddest place to be in if you have a bad audition. And I'm just like,
miserable.
Oh, it's awful, but it could be the best place to be when you have a good audition. You press that elevator button, you are just like, you're just glowing. But if you have a bad one, oh, it's depressing. And that walk back to the train on 8th Avenue is sad.
Like a walk of shame.
Oh yeah, and it feels like you feel like people can like smell it on you.
I'm like, oh man, that guy just had a bad audition. Look at the mojo on that dude.
Yeah,
he still got his Capizios on. What a nerd.
He's still got his Capizio jazz sneakers on. And so I'm sitting in Ripley, and I get this email from my agent that says, "Urgent, City of Lights audition tomorrow." And I was reading it's this new musical. It's part of the She NYC Festival. And I went, and it's like a leading role. And I said, okay, great. Looked at the music, loved it. Go into the audition the next day, and I do the audition. It goes great, but I noticed like a familiar face behind the table, and I leave the room, and I was like, and I asked the monitor, I was like, the director, is that? And she goes, yes, Tony winner Katie Huffman. And I said, no, Curb Your Enthusiasm's Katie Huffman. I had no, like, that's how I knew her. I didn't know her as Ula from the producers who won the Tony. And so I wind up doing City of Light and working with Katie. And since then, I've developed a great relationship with her, and which is super cool. I mean, that's just, it's such a cool thing to say, that I have a friendship with her. And then that led to a lot of my dearest friends in New York City. And it just led to like, it just kind of just opened me up in a way that was very valuable. Like a year in New York or so later, I went in for Jersey Boys to audition for Frankie Valli and made it to final callback. And then I got an email that said my dancing wasn't strong enough, so I didn't get it. A week later, I get an appointment for The Prom on Broadway, and
which is way harder dancing, by the way.
You're telling me.
Yeah, because Anthony's done it and Alan hasn't.
Yes.
Well, no, I've seen both shows, and boy, I got tired just watching those.
Me too. Me too. And so I was like, okay, yeah, like I'm not going to get this, but I'll go in, of course. And I go in on a Monday, and we do the combo, and I sang a song. I got asked to stay and sing. And then the next day was a callback for Casey Nicola. And there were 16 of us after like hundreds of us on a Monday. It was crazy. It was packed. And they cut it down to 16. We danced for Casey. They had us all stay and sing. And then they made cuts as people sang, which is fucking brutal.
Oh, that's hard.
because it was in front
Thank
of
you.
it was in front of everybody. Like,
Yeah.
and everyone can hear you singing, and everyone saw you either say yes, you can stay, or thank you, we're good. So I go in and sing, and instead of sending me out to be like, you're good or whatever, Casey himself, he was like, so you're gonna stay and dance some more. So if you can just wait outside, that'd be awesome. And so they cut it down to 4 of us. We danced again. That was it. And then the next day, I was going for a costume fitting for a show that I did called Murder for Two, which I would actually love to talk about with you guys. And I came back to my apartment and I took a nap. I woke up to a voicemail from my agent, and I knew what it was, because if it was a no, they would have emailed me. Yeah, and they said you're going to be making your Broadway debut in the prom, just like that.
What a
And
show, too.
yeah, man. And that the prom changed everything about my life. It changed everything. I can't stress enough how many things it changed, and just the people it brought into my life. I mean, Brooks Ashmanskas alone, God among men.
Right.
But like the people, just everything. Yeah.
I love it. And I wish you all could see, you have such a glow as you talk about it. I mean, I think that first massive, your first Broadway show is clearly going to be massive, but it's not always, I don't think, an incredible experience for every actor. So.
Absolutely. I got very lucky. The things I've worked on in my career have been like really great. And that is so lucky, because that's not the case most of the time. It's like you can make your Broadway debut and your show could close a week later. It's I lucked out to be a part of that company.
Well, it's such a great story, and the company, and it's like everybody did it because it was such a passion. And
yes, absolutely.
And that season 2, it was the only it was only a completely original show that season too.
Yeah.
And I mean, oh gosh, it had all the cards stacked against it and just came out so nice, so good. I still love every chance I get, and everyone I've met from the show, yourself included, have just been an incredible person.
It was like a lightning in a bottle moment of just a really good group of people with a really good product, and just and you said it yourself, everyone was there because they wanted to be there, and all our principals took major pay cuts to be able to do the show. They're like, we don't care, we want this to happen. And so it did.
I love that. What do you want to tell us about, what was it? Murder for Two. Murder for Two.
Yeah, so
there must be some chance there, or you wouldn't have said that.
Is it Murder for Two or Murder for Two? The emphasis was strange, and I don't know if that's part of the pun of the title.
That's a good question. I think it's Murder Dirter for Two.
Murder my dirter for tur.
Murder my dirter for tur.
For tur. Yeah, tur.
So like Lily, it's I was a part of an actor-musician show. It was one of the most challenging things I've ever done. And if you've never seen or heard of Murder Dirter for Two, absolutely check it out, because it's one of the funniest shows I've ever read, been a part of, and it just has incredible music. So it's a 2-man show, and it's like a take on a murder mystery, and it's a comedy. And one guy plays a detective, which is what I played, and then the other actor plays all 16 suspects. And so, and in addition to that, we are the orchestra of the show. And it's just 2 guys, a grand piano, and a set. And so when we're not underscoring each other, we're playing at the same time. So all 88 keys on the piano are used throughout the show. And it's not like chord piano. It's not easy piano. It's expert level piano. And so if you take a look at the score, it's just like, that's insane. It's a huge ask to find actors like that. And so I got an audition for this way before the prom. And so I learned the music and booked it. And I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. I don't know if I can do this. I learned it. And it was one of the most rewarding, hardest experiences that I've ever done. It was awesome.
Hurt so good.
Hurt so good.
I love when you say yes to things you don't know you can do, and then you have to learn that you can do it.
Talk about a
really glad that
chance.
you said that.
Yes.
Right.
Because I want to invite you, Anthony,
Oh boy.
all the way to lean all the way into that concept. So I know you listened to our interview with Lily. I'm not sure if you've listened to any of our other interviews, but we have a little thing we do here, and I wish I'd done it with Lily, and we had a shorter time with her, and I didn't get to, where we have our guests who are musically inclined perform a unique version, compose, if you will, your own version of a song called "Shut the Fuck Up, Alan." Do you think that you could give that a go?
I think so. Hang on.
Okay.
But obviously, this is just complete fiction.
He has left the room. For those of you listening,
Totally. Tell me he's getting a saxophone.
he has
I wish I was
left the
getting a
room.
saxophone.
He's coming back with a guitar.
Guitar.
A
Oh
saxophone
wow.
would have been great.
Okay.
Got the capo. Putting on the capo. All right.
Shut the fuck up, Alan.
I like it. He's like,
That's
and
it?
I'm done. But it works.
That's it. That's
I
it.
love it.
Yep.
That is so great.
Shut the fuck up, Alan.
Maybe we
Really?
could get a nice.
It's like the intro to a TV show.
What were you gonna say, Anthony?
I don't know.
See, we keep interrupting you. I feel bad. We're bad interviewers today.
No. You're great interviewers.
We're bad
today.
interviewers every day. Today's no different.
I don't think we are.
Well, no, if we say that, then nobody else can. That's deflection.
No, it's
And other words that I've heard.
my
of
goodness. That's a lovely way to end. I thought it was really beautiful.
Thank
And
you. I've
you
been
can
I've
see
been
now.
I've been writing it for 2 minutes now, and I think it's going really well. I think it's
It
going to
might
go.
make you famous.
I think
It
so.
might. It might.
Where can we find you on the socials and connect with you and say hi and all the other fun things?
You can find me at _norms, _NORMS. And I think it's the same through Instagram and TikTok. And yeah,
And your website is
AnthonyJNorman.com, because AnthonyNorman.com was taken.
Of course it was.
What a jerk.
I know.
Damn that Anthony Norman.
I know. He's not even playing Evan Hansen. What a loser.
What does the other Anthony Norman do? The only other one.
I couldn't tell you. I know there's a baseball player in the minor leagues named Anthony Norman. Is he still
Not
playing?
nearly as cool as you.
Oh, thank you.
There's
And not
an
nearly
Alan
as
Seals-
handsome.
No, not at all.
Not nearly as you are fun. When you are back in Chicago, if you have some time, let's grab a drink. I think it'd be a lot of fun.
I would love that. By the way, we're coming to Peoria, so we'll be near Chicago in the spring, I think. And also, Alan, I know you were asking about the Carolinas. We're actually closing in South Carolina, Columbia, South Carolina. So if you guys want to come to the show, then let me know.
It'd be fun. Let's go to Carolina. Why not? I've never been. I've never been to the Carolinas.
It's so beautiful.
I'll be there in 2 weeks. It's great. I'll take you up the Blue Ridge Parkway.
We should do it.
All
we
right.
should do it. And you all listening, if you haven't seen the show, go find some tickets to a show, some town near you, because you've got another many months of tour, right?
Coming to a town near you.
Got 4 more months.
4 more months. Awesome. Anthony, this was so much fun. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did.
I had a great time. Thank you guys so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Is the Evan Hansen laugh like Urkel? Did I do that?
Maybe a bit, but not as extreme.
Gotcha.
Not as extreme. But I
Can you
can see
imagine that?
some inspiration there.
Can you imagine that acting choice? Like when Jaleel White went in to audition for, I know we're wrapping up, but now I'm just
He
going
can
down a
imagine it
rabbit
because
hole.
he did it for his role in Dear Evan Hansen.
I know, but like, how many people auditioned for Urkel and didn't get it? And then Jaleel White walks in, like, does the posture, does the laugh, and they're like, that's it. That's the choice. Make bold choices.
That is the lesson of this whole episode is that should be the title of this episode. Make bold choices.
with a highlighter. Okay.
Ask and ye shall receive. Anthony, thank you so much.
You.
Good luck with the rest of the tour. We'll see you soon. Take care.
Thank you, guys. Stay in touch.
Bye. How fucking cute and adorable and fun and smart. You're all the adult man things too, Anthony, but you are so cute and adorable and fun and smart.
Why, thank you. I'm Anthony Norman. I appreciate that compliment.
He's listening. I have to just assume he's going to listen to the interview.
Yeah, I hope he listens to it. Do you think your guests listen to all their interviews?
Oh, no, I know for a fact that some of them don't because they can't stand to hear themselves. But I think the smart ones do, especially if you are
If they're smart, they're going to listen to our podcast.
No. Listen to themselves so they can hear themselves. I think if it's related to your career.
Yeah. Well, speaking of his career, I love to see where he is now and the things he's done and where he's going. Like, I remember seeing him in prom and working with him. Not dealing with him. Dealing with that kid.
You got to deal with that kid.
I was working with him on composing some theme music. Right, we brought that up for another podcast on the network, and I love how he's just embracing all of this opportunity to grow and to travel and just saying like, yeah, right. I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna do it And here I am, and I'm going to make the best of it. So it was really cool. It was really fun to talk to him one-on-one like that.
It was really fun. And I knew I was in for it like right away because the two of you are two peas in a pod. And I was like, well, all right, just roll with it, Heather. Have some fun. No, you guys are so cute together.
Yeah, he's pretty cool. He's good people.
I love his portrayal of Evan Hansen, and I really enjoyed hearing what it was like to play that role from his perspective, because it is, I mean, it's an iconic role, but it's portrayed very differently from the way Ben Platt did it, the way I have no idea who played Evan the first time I saw the show. Sorry, guys.
Wait, on Broadway, you mean?
No, I didn't see it on Broadway. I saw it in Chicago several years ago.
Oh, years ago, yeah.
Yeah. So it wasn't Anthony, but I don't know who it was. But it was a very different portrayal of a really iconic, well-known character. And I loved hearing how he got to put his own stamp on it and how they really foster uniqueness. I mean, we heard the same thing from Lily Thomas.
Yeah, what he said about like being able to make the role his own, and he's not trying to be another Ben Platt. He's not trying to fill in and do things like somebody else did, and he's puts the snort in the laugh, and he's actually making bold choices that take that are different, take the character in a different direction from what you may know from the cast album or from the original production or even anybody else who you've seen in other productions, and that's part of the why I love live theater in general.
Yes.
Because no two shows, even by the same cast, are ever exactly the same.
Yep. I remember when I took my kids to see Hamilton, when we all went. I've seen it 5 times, I think. My oldest daughter's seen it 3 of those 5 times, but collectively we only saw it once. And I kept saying to them, hey, I just want to make sure this is not going to be just like the cast album. You need to be ready for it to be different. And I'll tell you one of the things that I loved so much about Anthony is his kind of vivaciousness for trying things. For, okay, yep, all right, nope, let me try that. Yeah, well, I'll go there, I'll do that. Okay, nope, that didn't work. All right, like really poignant, I think. Really able to bounce around and try new things and explore and take that risk. All right, folks, we hope that you loved the episode with Anthony Norman just as much as we did. He's so much fun. Again, listen to the episode we did with Lily Thomas and go see Dear Evan Hansen on tour if you get the chance to do so. But we really want to know how you're out taking intentional risk for creative success. Alan, will you tell folks how they can do that?
I would love to. You can visit us on the Instagrams at Was It Chance or email us at wasitchancepodcast@gmail.com. That's Gmail for those who don't speak Alan.
I just don't understand. It's just not a thing I understand, but it's okay. You would think this far into it, I would just be used to it. Hey, folks, you've been listening to Was It Chance, the podcast about taking intentional risk for your creative life. I'm Heather Vickery.
And I'm Alan Seals.
Bye, y'all. We'll talk to you soon.